They say that truth is stranger than fiction, and that may be true. It's fair to say that being a soldier isn't for everyone, and while mysterious encounters don't come to mind when you think of them, it doesn't mean that soldiers haven't had their fair share of bizarre encounters. One soldier detailed their encounter in a group that investigates mysterious creatures. They said the following: "This encounter happened while I was off duty. I was in Florida camping out with a few buddies when we all heard loud screams coming from the woods. We were in the Everglades as my friend had just purchased a property close by, so we all decided to meet up and take a trip out there. At around 11 PM we all heard these strange grunting noises coming from behind us, followed by a loud scream. At the time I had on me a night vision optic, and so got it out and looked towards where the sounds were coming from. In the distance I could see something. At first it was hard to make out, and the thing that came to mind was that it was a bear standing on 2 feet, something that I've seen before in the wild. I've travelled around Florida my entire life, and there's a native bear here known as the Florida black bear. I told one of my friends to make a sound in order to get a confirmation of what I was seeing, so my friend clapped, and that's when the animal turned its head. However, this thing was definitely not a bear, and its head was much more humanoid, with me being able to make out a large brow ridge, along with thick hair covering most of its face. For such a large creature though, it was quite skittish, and I would guess that 15 seconds after we made the clapping noise it made its way further into the brush. The sighting was rushed, and although it was dark, I'm quite certain that what I saw wasn't a common bear that you find throughout the area. It was a large humanoid looking creature whose face closely resembled that of a human's, except that it was much bulkier. What was strange was that after I started researching this, I found this creature had been mentioned in military field guides. I'm not sure if this is a tongue-in-cheek thing going on or if it's genuine, but it's something that I found interesting, and it makes me wonder if others have come forward with their encounters, which in turn led to the military adding them into their manuals. If it wasn't for the night optics, I would have no clue that this thing was there. I could have walked out into the night and had no idea that this thing would have been standing there. It's something that I've never forgotten and not something I really talk about. I've talked with others who have seen similar creatures in the area, and although I don't like to label what I saw, I'm pretty sure it wasn't a bear." End quote. Interestingly, this isn't the first time that a story like this has been shared, but skeptics often ask that if there's so many of these creatures, noting that hundreds of sightings are reported every year, then where's all the bodies, noting that surely by now a hiker would have found one of these things. One believer took to Reddit and posted the following statement: "This is a good question and one that often comes up. Truly, a Bigfoot corpse would certainly support the claims that are being made. Here's a few reasons I'm not surprised we haven't found one. Bigfoot tends to live in very dense old-growth forests. As I mentioned in another post, this type of habitat suits their shy, skittish behaviour. This makes finding the corpse of any animals difficult. Many animals find a lonely, isolated place when they know they're going to pass away. I had a dog that crawled under my back porch a few days before passing away. Some animals find caves, others hide under vegetation or rotten tree stumps. Other animals actually eat their dead. My point is this: large animals don't usually appear on well-hiked trails. How often do you find yourself stumbling upon black bear carcasses that have passed away from natural causes? There are 650,000 black bears in North America, and supposedly only 2,000 to 6,000 Bigfoot creatures. Animal corpses can disappear from the forest floor within weeks or months of passing. First, small carnivores eat the flesh and soft organs. Birds will then strip the bone clean, and then insects, coyotes, wolves and bears eat the bones for the marrow. that leaves a small window to finding a Bigfoot corpse in some of the thickest forests on our continent, where many large animals pass away alone and isolated. I'm not saying it's impossible to find a body. In fact, I think we will eventually. I'm just not surprised we haven't yet. Zak Bagans is no stranger to mysterious objects and old buildings. He's built a career investigating the strange happenings of our world, and is a firm believer that we're not alone. He's famous for his paranormal investigation series Ghost Adventures, with some calling him a modern-day version of the paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren. Bagans is a man with an extraordinary passion for the paranormal, and in recent times he's come forward and detailed some of the most intense investigations that he's been a part of. While with the Ghost Adventures crew, he went down to Texas to investigate the Goatman's Bridge. They heard first-hand accounts of how strange rituals were carried out beneath the bridge, and how for countless years various people who've been to the bridge have had bad experiences, with some even going on to label this place as a demonic hotspot. Zak said the following: "There's some locations that I've investigated that I never want to return to again. Goatsman Bridge, the forces at that place were indescribable. We were going there based on the stories of there being a Goatman type creature. Once we got there, we didn't know how dark and demonic this place was, and how this entity would disguise itself as a regular person named Steve. After we started talking to the eyewitnesses, then we knew that something was really wrong here, especially when one of our female members of our crew got severely affected, and this was a common thing for females to get badly affected in this forest where the bridge was. During this investigation, we decided to do a ceremony to see if we could summon this entity. I don't think that any of us knew that this event would trigger one of the most terrifying moments of my whole investigation career with Ghost Adventures. Something manifested and literally threw Aaron and injured him, and then something kept going back and forth to him, and then when it left him he would drop to the ground and then it would go to me. It was like someone was holding a puppet on strings. The ability that this entity had to get inside me and cause me to try and hurt myself was the most terrifying thing." He continued with the following during the episode: "Something in this forest is going to greet us. Texas has a rich all-American history, and the legend of the Old Alton Bridge is a testament to this history, as the ghost of a former farmer haunts this area. The Old Alton Bridge is beautifully and historically constructed for footpath traffic connecting Denton, Texas to Copper Canyon. It hovers over a muggy river and is surrounded by luscious green trees and grass. It was originally crafted to bring horses and cars to the other side of the river, but is now unsuitable for modern vehicles. A nearby bridge was built to allow bigger rigs to pass through instead. However, its beauty doesn't match its dreadful history. The bridge has been nicknamed Goatsman Bridge after a successful goat farmer, Oscar Washburn. However, he was taken out by KKK members in 1938. The Washburn family resided in the area in the early 1930s, and was generally left alone and even respected by the rest of the community. They were a prosperous family as they raised healthy resale goats that were necessary for farming. The clan got wind of the Washburn family success because of a promotional sign hung from the Old Alton Bridge, and they were enraged. One night in 1938, they raced across the bridge to drag Oscar from his home and bring him to the Old Alton Bridge, where he would ultimately meet his demise. The legend remarks that they went back for the rest of the Washburn family, but took them out in their home rather than placing them alongside Oscar. When the members went to see if Washburn had truly passed away, his body had disappeared without a trace. Visitors and residents of the area claim that Oscar Washburn's ghost still haunts the Old Alton Bridge. Visiting the bridge at night has brought all sorts of stories to light. Some people have reported seeing a man standing at the other side of the bridge holding goats' heads underneath his arms, or even a half-man, half-goat figure standing in the back of them. Others have reported more subtle incidents of their car doors locking and unlocking unprompted. Even if visitors don't see the goat man, they have reported seeing glowing red eyes in the distance. Tourists and visitors have concluded that knocking on the bridge 3 times at night summons the ghost of Oscar Washburn. Interestingly, it appears that many of the claims surrounding the goat man hold consistent descriptions, with those that have personally encountered the strange and monstrous creature claiming that it stands at roughly 7 feet tall. Those that have laid eyes on it have said that it appears to be a half-man and half-goat, fitting the description similar to that of an ancient Greek minotaur. Many residents local to the region have reported seeing the goat man, with some saying that they were attacked by the creature itself, and details that it waits within the thick shrubbery for someone to walk past before it launches its attack. According to the legends coming out of the state of Maryland surrounding the creature, residents claim that this goat man first originated from a testing lab on the Beltsville Agricultural Research Center. The story goes that a scientist was spending his time working with goats and furthering his genetic research. However, an accident had occurred and turned him into a massive goat man, and now this creature roams the area in order to seek revenge. As of today, investigations are still being carried out on Old Alton Bridge, with witnesses saying that the area is very much alive, and that a large spirit in the form of a goat man still haunts the nearby areas. So what do you make of the goat man story? And do you agree with Zak Bagans that this is one of the most frightening places he's investigated? Be sure to leave your questions and answers in the comment section below, and help us to grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.